back, peeps, to today's video. Thank you for tuning in the Band of Bros channel. Today we're going to be talking about what are the best options to have, what are the best settings to have in Call of Duty Modern Warfare Warzone mode. Right? These are not settings for your computer for it to run better. These are settings to improve your game. Like, for example, how to add the automatic sprint so you don't have to hold your sprint button to run automatically, how to change the way you pick up weapons, how to change the audio, what audio is perfect for you, because I've heard a lot of complaints and a lot of comments that the audio system is not that yet so finely tuned in this game, and that you can hear your friendly footsteps really loud, and then the enemies you can't hear them, and the audio is all messed up. So I'm going to go in depth in the audio today and just give you a couple of tips and tricks here to improve your game just by going into the options. So first off, we're going to go, if you guys don't know, these options are in Warzone. So once you're in the Warzone, go to options, and then we're going to start off with the controller mode, which is going to be the first one. All right, I'm in PlayStation, but these ones apply for everybody regardless of where you are in. So let's go all the way to the bottom, and we're going to start off with the use and / reload behavior. This is something a lot of people don't know. For example, when you open a box, you guys know that you have to hold to pick up the stuff, or for example, you want to pick up any equipment, it's tap to hold. You can actually use tap to use. So if you move this one here, tap to use, a lot of people complain that it's just annoying that you have to tap to pick up everything from the gun. So you can actually go this one, which is tap to use, and now everything you just have to tap it and it'll pick it up instead of holding, but it will switch it. So now to pick up stuff from the ground is going to be tap, and to reload your gun is going to be hold to reload, hold with the square one or whatever you click. I did change it to tap, but I did find that I was kind of like changing weapons really fast and I couldn't grab it because the tapping one was just too fast. Everything I clicked, it picked up. So I do like the holding one, but there's some people that do hate it. So there it is if you do want to switch it. This was basically enabled, depleted ammo, weapon switch. So go ahead and tune that, take that one into enabled. Now we're gonna go to the bottom here into movement. So this is where it gets a little bit interesting. We got auto move forward, and then we got automatic sprint. Especially for this one, man, I'm playing with, obviously, with the controller here on PlayStation, and my thumb hurts a lot. I mean, after Warzone is just running and running and running and running. So after a while, you know, clicking and clicking, double clicking to keep on moving forward. This one's actually pretty useful. So you got the auto move forward, which is just enabled, and basically it says push the movement stick forward twice in quick succession to continuously move forward. Pull it backwards to stop. And then we got the automatic sprint. It wasn't disabled, so you do have to go and enable this automatic sprint. Then go to automatic sprint, and as you guys can see, move forward while standing to make your character automatically sprint. Double press the sprint button while sprinting to activate the tactical sprint, which is the one that you hold your gun up and then you start moving up like that. So again, this one is crucial, especially for controller players. It's just really annoying to double click it all the time, and then sometimes he doesn't do it. So this one is definitely crucial. Then here we're gonna go into general. We got a couple good ones in here. The film grain is to make the screen less blurry, so go ahead and adjust that to your preference. And now we're gonna go all the way to the bottom. This one is really important. It's in accessibility. It's called World Motion Blur and Weapon Motion Blur. This one is enabled by default. If you have not switched these, go ahead and turn them off. So you guys can see there the images on the side. It's basically blur, so it's more realistic, you know, because if you're moving your sight really fast, then it is going to be blurry what you're looking. But in the game is not that optimal, as you guys can see there. If there is a guy in the window, it's going to be a lot harder for you to see if it's all blurry. And then the same thing, the other one is the weapon motion blur. It just makes your picture a lot clearer, and it's not blurred when you're moving. So you definitely do want to go ahead and disable this one. Another cool tip for you guys is go to HUD or the HUD, whatever you guys call it in general. And then the minimap shape, it is set to the round one. But go ahead and change it to square. As you guys can see, you do get about 33% extra mini-map view on that one. So that is also just a little extra tip there that will help you guys. Now let's jump into the audio. This is the big one, right? This is what do these audio mixes mean? What do they do? Because audio is really important in Call of Duty. You can listen to the footsteps. You can kind of target where the gunshot is coming from, how far it is. So it's very important. So let's start off here. These is actually from the official Activision one. So I'm reading exactly what Activision told us. This is not what I think it is. This is exactly what they tell me. What they're saying it does. So let's start off with the first one, which is studio reference. So with no compression and no adjustments made to mastering EQ, the flat audio mix is the one used by the audio team as the studio reference mix. When played at 75 dB, this is the gold standard when it comes to how the game should sound. In short, if you want to play the game loud and with full dynamic range, this is the audio mix to set up. So basically, studio reference, this is how the game is intended to sound. So if you want to basically play how the game is intended to sound, go ahead and use studio reference. Next up, we got dynamic home theater. This mix is very similar to the studio reference mix with no compression. However, it does include a small boost to the middle frequencies. We use this audio mix in our studio theater when we're showing off to the game visitors. So this is basically if you're playing with some friends and stuff and you got the speakers on, go ahead and set up dynamic home theater. Next up, we got the home theater. The home theater mix does include a small bit of compression. However, it isn't much different from the studio reference mix, with a small boost in the lower end and a slight cut in the higher frequencies. This mix adds a shape and some color to the sound along with slight compression. The ideal volume to be playing this mix is 55 dB. Next up, we got the midnight mode. This audio mix was crafted with the single player campaign in mind. With a cut to the lows, it will remove the boom of large explosions and the brightness of the higher frequencies, while maintaining the outer range where the dialogue happens. In this case, compression also helps to keep everything represented at lower volumes. This is a perfect mix for playing when the family's sleeping and you're still trying to go dark. So basically, if you're at home, you don't got so much good headsets, you don't really want everybody hearing your game, you're playing obviously in a where people are sleeping, go ahead and use this one. So basically lowers everything, but it's still loud enough, for example, for you to hear footsteps. But things like explosions and everything like that, it's going to go ahead and tune them down. Next up, we got the boost. The boost mix has a similar amount of compression compared to the midnight mode, while making cuts to the lower and higher end frequencies. This is to keep the mix sounding clean and non-fatiguing for long play. Next up, we got the boost high, which is the one I have selected. This audio mix has a similar amount of compression. However, the EQ curve is slightly different. In this case, there are significant cuts in the lower end along with a small shelf cut in the higher frequencies. The idea behind this mix is to make the game sound brighter. Now we get the boost low. Boost low. In this mix, there are some key cuts and boosts to the lower and higher frequencies. However, the biggest detail to note on this mix is the amount of compression. Even so, the mix is perfect for making the game sound a bit heavier and significantly reinforces the lower end. So now, a good rule of thumb that they're suggesting here on these are, what does this all mean, right? Which was the best one for me? So a good rule of thumb when selecting the right mix is to tune to the sound of weapon firing. So basically go ahead and put yourself into a fire mode or in a private match and start shooting and select different modes. Why? Because these are usually the loudest objects in the game, the firing. So you can use these depending on how you hear the firing on the guns. And now just a little tip for you guys if you guys are not that into all the details. So the best Warzone audio settings recommended. So you will get, so the low boost, let's go down here. So the low boost audio profile is probably one of the best ones. I did have it in high, but I'm going to switch it to low here. So what low boost audio profile does is it amplifies enemies' footsteps a lot, and that is significant if you're resting away in a building. Knowing where your enemy's coming from precisely can really help you in certain situations. Using the other one I had, which is the boost high, the boost high audio profile is a good alternative as it does pretty much the same thing, but it amplifies gunshots as well as those weren't already evident enough. So gunshots, you can basically hear them from miles away, but that's why I had it in this in the high, because I felt like I wanted to hear every single gunshot. So if you want to hear every single gunshot, go ahead and put boost high. And if you want to hear every single footstep, which is basically what a lot of pro players like to do, go ahead and use the boost low, which I'm going to try this one and going to see what happens. Now, with these ones, I can't tell you exactly what is the, obviously, which one to put it on, because everybody has different things, right? Everybody has a different headset. Everybody, they're playing on a speaker. Everybody's different. But go ahead and play with these ones. Obviously, master volume adjusts the global volume. The one I would recommend for you guys is turn down the music volume. It's just something that's a little bit annoying, especially try to keep the vital audio, which is the gunshots, which is your friends talking. Talking about your friends talking, go ahead and go to voice chat and put voice chat. And I did bump this up a little bit. I felt that the voice chat wasn't powerful enough in Modern Warfare. So if you're talking with your friends in the game, especially with the cross-platform and all that stuff going on, definitely go ahead and boost this one up. It was at 100. I did boost it up to 150. So this is where you can also change it. So voice chat volume, go ahead and change it. And just a cool little tip here for you guys. There's a voice chat effect actually, which I just turned it on. I'm not sure exactly how it sounds, but it's currently in no effect, but you have to go ahead and change it. As you guys can see here, stealth comms brings the immersion of the campaign into multiplayer with the added SAS radio effects to voice chat. Classic chatter, feeling nostalgic, coordinated with your team using the classic Modern Warfare radio effect. So you probably get that little sound effect when you're talking. I'm not sure, but I just want to go ahead and test it out. Just makes it a little bit cool. So yeah, those are basically the main tips and tricks and main guide for the Warzone settings. Like I said, this wasn't specific on how to get better performance. These are just tips and tricks that you can change in the options to make you already have an advantage over a player that is not going to happen. I will copy and paste all the audio profiles in the comments and the description if you guys want to check them out, because there is a lot. And they basically explain a lot. So I will go ahead and copy and paste that one. But yeah, thank you for tuning in. Peace out. And I'll see you all in the next one.